about the AWS, what is AWS, how it is used, why customers choose AWS, why they why you should learn AWS, what is the exam structure of AWS, what is basically the learning path for AWS, what kind of the questions, what majority of the questions are covered in the exam, and on which area you have to focus more, as well as we'll talk about the different services used in AWS. Also, we will see the different type of the difficulty level, whatever the difficulty level and things are there for AWS. So we'll talk about those. Then we'll talk about benefits of certification, that what are the benefits of certification, why it is worth to do certification. And at the end, we'll talk about a little bit, we'll give you the overview of BeingDatum, what we are and what services and details we offer. So starting with the speaker intro. So about myself, I'm Sachin Agrawal, and I work as a cloud and DevOps senior consultant in one of the IT MNC, and I have huge experience and a lot of exposure on different cloud services and the cloud vendors, as well as I have also worked on different development environments and the server configuration, infrastructure provisioning, and a lot of other things. Now, apart from that, I've been into the training and all from last 5 years, and I've training into the DevOps, into the cloud, and the other different modules and related services related to this. So let's talk about, before starting with introduction to cloud computing, we'll first talk about what is cloud. Now, once I talk about that, what is cloud, so it's very important to understand that what is cloud and why cloud is used these days. So in a simple terminology, if I try to understand cloud, so cloud is some service, or you can say a computer where you store the data and you use it for a temporary purpose over the internet. So it's not only about storing the data or about the doing the compute or the performing some database operations, but you can also do a lot of other tasks on the cloud, such as the trending technologies which we have, like AI, the ML, the data analytics, and other bunch of different type of computings or services. So in simple terms, we can understand and we can think that cloud means that you are using someone else's computer which is connected via the internet, and you are performing your job or operation on that. So to understand it in a more better way, let's take an analogy for this cloud with help. So if we see that in early 1980s or 1990s, we have the electricity. If we talk about the electricity, so I think like the cloud, to relate cloud computing, the electricity is a perfect example. As earlier, what you have to do, that you generate your own electricity, you buy your own generator, maintain it, and all the expenses are incurred by you. So a huge cost of investment and these things are involved, which basically is, and you also use number of resources and a lot of people are involved. So basically it's all up to you that how you are maintaining it and how you are utilizing the electricity, and you have to distribute. So it's all that you have to take care on your own. But if I talk in terms of cloud, so what happened is that you are basically outsourcing the task of electricity generation to a particular company. Let's say that you are outsourcing this task to an energy company, and what it will do is that it basically, now they will generate the electricity for you, and you can use that electricity as and when required, and you have to pay only for the particular service of a particular time you are using that service. Or that is, so as you say that you are just paying the electricity bill for the units you have consumed. So that is how cloud works. Cloud is basically the on-demand delivery of service for which you pay for the time you use. So so this is, you don't waste your money as well as your efforts on configuring the hardware and software, as there's someone else who is doing it for you, and you just need to pay for your use. Also, if we say, if we talk about some other example and some other things, so we can talk about a simple example of a tax calculator. So let's say if you went to the market and you bought a tax calculator. Now what you will do here is that once you have bought the tax calculator, so after that you just use that calculator once in a year when you are filing a return, or when you have to file your income tax. Now after a year, what happened that there are policies which has been changed, the tax slabs has been changed. Now that calculator is of no use for you. But if the same calculator is hosted as a software on some particular application, on some particular server, or by any cloud service provider, or we say that it is hosted in internet, so what will happen here is that now you can use that service for the time you want, and after that you can stop that service. So you are paying for that particular time for which you are using that service. After that you are not paying for the for that tax calculator software. Also, if we see other advantages, let's say if you have to share that calculator with some of your friend who lives in London or Kolkata or anywhere in the world. So if it is a hardware device, you don't have, like, you have to worry about the courier charges and other things, as well as the time it is taking. But if it is, as it is a software, as it hosted in a cloud, so you can go directly and you can just share the IP address and details with him, and that person can go and use the software as and when required. So easily you can share your resources as well with the help of cloud. Apart from that, what else you can do is that whenever there is a upgrade is required, you can go ahead and you can upgrade that software. You don't have to worry that if my tax slab got changed, or if some laws have been changed, so I have to go again and buy the software and I have to enter the cost. So you can easily upgrade it. Now, you considering all these things, at the end of the day, you are saving your cost and you are utilizing the resource efficiently, and at the same time it is being utilized by multiple people. So this is the major advantage and the benefit of cloud. So let's see what is cloud computing. So cloud computing, as I said, it's basically the on-demand delivery of service where you pay for your use. If I see the definition of a cloud computing, so it's basically the shared pool of the resources or the computers which perform some high level which have high level services, and which performs the provisioning, the setting up the infrastructure, hardware, and the other management activities over the internet, and which requires minimum effort from you. Now we have three types of models in three type of service model being offered by cloud. One is IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. By the name itself, we can see that it says that infrastructure as a service. Here, infrastructure is a key word or key term here for us to understand. If I talk about infrastructure, so this means that your software or the you are basically getting the operating system available to you. So it is basically like a cloud-based service which set up the infra for you. That is the software or it gives you the hardware with the operating system installed for you, and you can configure it as per your requirement. If I say in terms of AWS, so AWS offers us a service known as EC2, which basically do this activity where you can go and you can basically configure your desired OS, that is Linux OS or a CentOS or a Red Hat Linux, whatever you want, and you can configure the memory, you can configure the other kind of software and the RAM and all those things, whatever is needed for your requirement, and you can work as and when needed. So infrastructure as a service is a very important and as a very good service model offered by cloud. Apart from that, we have software as a service. Software as a service, here what happens that you basically get software available over the internet. Means that let's take an example here of Dropbox or Google Drive. what you are doing, you just worry about that particular software. You don't worry that how Google Drive was written, what was the backend code, what was the front end code, how they are managing their servers, how they are managing the other infra, or what would happen if the memory will exhaust or something will go. So you just worry about your software, and you use it for a particular time whenever you need it. Again, there are certain other subscription models which are there, like for Google Drive we have like a limit of 15 GB, and after that if you want more memory you can always go and you can buy it from Google. So we have other examples also, like apart from Google Drive we have Dropbox as well, and in the apart from that we have Google Photos and the other kind of applications which basically help you to just go ahead and start working on that software or play with that software. Now, if we talk about platform as a service, so here what happens that it is mainly useful for all those people who are developers and who just want and to go and host their application and or start working on their application. So here you get the hardware and software, all the tools, whatever tools are required, you just go with, you select your requirement that, okay, I want MySQL DB, I want Apache server, and I want the Angular installed. And now I can go ahead and I can create a web application. So once you launch that particular instance, or you launch that particular software, so what you will get, your platform will be ready with all the required details. Now, as your platform is ready, you don't have to worry that, okay, I have to go and I have to edit the configuration file, or I have to go and edit group sync, because all the basic level configuration has been already done by the service provider. Okay. So this is about the service model. Let's talk about different deployment models. So we have different deployment models here, like we have public cloud, we have private cloud, as well as hybrid cloud. Public cloud is nothing, it's basically which is accessible to anyone and at anywhere in the world. So this could be like your internet, which is a public cloud, and it is like it can be accessible to anyone. So it's mainly like most not too secure for use. So that is the example of a public cloud. Now, if we talk about a private cloud is basically on premises. It's mainly used by the organizations who are like who have a confidential data, or who have lot of other kind of data which are sensitive, as well as there are some security related information and those things. So you have all the environment and all the setup is being done there at the on your premises itself, as well as it is taken care by the organization itself. So it is very secure environment, and it is very good for those kind of organizations which who have a lot of security issues and the other confidential related data. Now, hybrid cloud is a combination of both public as well as private. So this particular cloud model is being used by most of the companies, where they utilize the services of the public as well as with the private services also. So they have some infrastructure where they can which is on premises, and they can store the data and the things there, and the other services which should be accessible to other people across the organization and the other related entities. So they can basically go ahead and they can access those public cloud there. So this was about the definition of a cloud computing, and we saw about the different service models as well as deployment models. So we have three cloud vendors which we mostly see in our career. We see that we have Amazon, we have Azure, we have GCP, Google Cloud, and these things. But the market leader is Amazon, and most of the market, that is the 90% of market, is being acquired by Amazon due to its various services and other offerings provided by them. So most of the market is acquired by Amazon itself. Now also other rest of 5% is acquired by Azure, and remaining 5% is acquired by IBM, by Google, by Alibaba, and the other different cloud vendors which we have in the market. So as we see about the terminologies and the different uses of the cloud computing, So we would able to see that we have a different benefits and different advantages of using the cloud. So if I talk about the advantages, so you don't have to wait for your deployments or for your local computing resources, which basically in turn provide you faster deployment. You are going to pay only for the services which you are using. You don't have to pay for the service for more than like you don't have to pay like for the services which you are not using, or which is like being uh, not launched in your instance or something. So it is basically like a pay as you use model. So that's how we term it as a usage based pricing. Of course, as you are investing less money on your hardware as well as setting up your infrastructure and other costs, so it is cost effective and you have less financial risk as an organization or as a or for your business. Upgrades are very easy. Lot of software upgrades are auto upgrades, which because they are being taken care by the vendors. So you don't have to worry about those. You have to worry about like if you have application hosted and those things. If you are going to do those upgrades, those can be done in few seconds. Then you don't have to worry about the hardware as well as the location or the to set up the infrastructure in on premises, as everything is on cloud and is being taken care by the vendors itself. So these are few of the benefits of cloud computing. There could be various, but these are some of the major ones which help us and which basically take us to use the cloud. Now let's talk about AWS. So as we all have heard this term AWS, that Amazon Web Service is something which basically provides a cloud or is a cloud service provider. So we know that AWS, it was like they launched these cloud services back in 2006, and since then they are just growing and growing and growing again and again. And every year they are coming up with some or other services. They are launching their services in a different areas in different regions across the globe, and almost now they have spread it over to the multiple regions around the world. And like you would be glad to know that they have around 70 regions across the world where these services are hosted, where their services are hosted, as well as within that region there are sub regions where you can uh, from where you can access their services. So Amazon Web Service is nothing basically, but it's a popular cloud platform which offers you a reliable and scalable cloud computing services. Basically, it allows you to pay for only those services which you are using. So if you talk about a storage service, if you talk about a compute service, or if you talk about database service, so let's say if you are using, if you have configured a MySQL instance. Now, once you have configured the MySQL instance, so after that, you are using a MySQL server for an hour. And after that, your work has been completed. You have configured a database, you have created the table, and all the schema activity has been done. Now, after that, after an hour, you can just go and you can stop your instance, and the billing will not be charged for your instance. Now, AWS not only provides the computing, storage, networking services, but they also help you with the application deployment and other advanced services. Okay, so basically, we can say that AWS cloud is nothing. It's a collection of a different servers and services which are connected to internet and which can be used by businesses or by their customers. Okay, so they have a very large, as we said, that a large amount of services, which we will discuss a little in few minutes, that what are the services they offer and what are the usage of those services. Now, before that, we should understand that why we should learn AWS, as we have different other vendors as well in market, and we have a lot of other cloud providers. But why we should go ahead with the AWS? So the first and foremost reason is the popularity. AWS is a market leader, and it, as we saw, that it has acquired around 90% of a market and the public cloud market. So basically, it's the fastest growing, also based on for the regions it is hosted, based on the services it is launching. That is one of the reasons why you should learn. Then lot more and more organizations, they are moving towards AWS rather than any other vendors because of the different offerings being made by it. AWS certifications are very popular and very valuable in the market. If you go ahead with that, your CV and your resume have add-on advantage. Apart from that, if you will be glad to know that the big companies like Netflix, Reddit, Pinterest, and lot of other companies, or lot of other startup companies also, they all are using AWS. They all are running on AWS. They're not using their on-premises or the cloud or these details. Rather, they have moved to AWS, and there are some which are moving to AWS to make sure that they save their cost and they can utilize it in some other resource. Now, so these are like, apart from that also we have different categories of services, but these are few of them, like compute, storage, database, migration, networking and content delivery, security, identity, analytics, ML, mobile services, application integration, the AR and the VR, that is the augmented reality and virtual reality, business productivity, the cost management, and the IoT, game development. You can see that so many services there are being offered by AWS. That is one of the reason that why customers always want to go ahead with AWS, because they are getting all the things which is required for an IT to run and or to run smoothly, or to set up the infrastructure end to end. Is they are getting all these things at one place itself. They don't have to go and use those like utilize some other third party tool or other services. So before we'll see the in detail about AWS services, let's try to see about AWS console. So if you go to console.aws.amazon.com, you can always create your account. The account creation of account is always free. And yes, AWS is always free. Always free means that they offer basically a 12-month of a time period for you to have a free account. You can utilize the services. But if you overutilize any services, or if you don't have idea that how to use those services, or what are the best approaches or ways to use those services, so definitely you will incur to like spend some cost, as you are overutilizing or you have not used in a proper manner. So, but when we log into AWS console, we see this particular screen, which is nothing but this is the AWS management console. There are other ways also by which you can access AWS. There are the different softwares, like we have a PyCharm where you get AWS plugins and the other things, as well as there are visual editors and also other SDKs being provided by Amazon itself. Apart from that, there are other services, other mechanism is to access it via the command line, that is via the CLI. So if I just take a small overview of this console, so here we have this as a region. So I have, like right now I have selected Northern Virginia region. Here you can see that we have a lot of different region. If I talk about the US, if I talk about Asia Pacific, Canada, Europe, or Middle East, or any other region, I have different region, and within each regions I have different availability zones. Okay. Now, apart from that, so guys, if you have any query, let's just please wait. At the end of the session, we'll answer all these queries. So here I have selected the Northern Virginia region. You can use any other region, and as per your requirement and all. This will basically give you the user ID, but with which user ID you have logged in. And basically it will, this particular dashboard will allow you to see about your account details, if you have organization structure, those, your billing details, and your other security credentials and the invoices related stuff. In the support, you can always go ahead and you can create other tickets. You can visit the forum, documentation center, and those things. Now here the main important part is the services. So you see that there are so many services which are being offered by AWS. If I talk in terms in compute, I have EC2, which is basically the service to host the infrastructure and these details. Then I have different service like Lambda service. I have Elastic Beanstalk. In the storage, I have a S3, which is a simple storage service, which is basically is used to upload and download the files, or as used to store your files basically. Then again, we have Elastic File Storage System, and lot of other storage systems which we have. So you can go through with lot of different services which you have here. So you have a networking service where you can create a virtual private cloud. You can commit your code, deploy your code, create your code pipelines. You have the Alexa and the other related services. And also there is a Lambda function, which everyone would have heard a lot of times. The Lambda function plays a very important role here in AWS, and it is also important for your solution architect exam as well. Now, what services are offered free? So, and for how much consumption, you can always go to aws.amazon.com/free, and here you can basically see for in the free tier account for how much particular time you basically get the services. And let's say that for EC2 we get for 750 hours per month, S3 we get 5 GB, RDS again we get 750, and different services. You can just anytime go and check that. Now, let's come back to our slide where we talked about the different services and the sub services which are being offered by cloud. Now let's talk about the AWS exam structure. So AWS exam structure is basically divided into 3 levels. That is the foundation level, and an associate level, and a professional level. So when I say foundation level, so that is basically nothing. It's basically your cloud practitioner exam, which is a very easy exam. And if you have good knowledge and a little hand-on experience on the cloud, you can anytime go and clear that exam. Now, when I talk about associate, so we have a certified solution architect associate exam in the associate level. I have here the certified developer associate exam. I have certified SysOps admin exam. The combination of these two takes you to the DevOps track, where you are the professional AWS DevOps professional. Then the advanced version of solution architect takes you to the solution architect professional exam. Then we have some specialized certifications, which are basically into the security, into the advanced networking, and in the big data. Now, before talking about the solution architect associate exam in detail, let's see the difficulty level. So the cloud practitioner exam is a very easy exam. After that, we have different, this particular hierarchy is starting from the easy to the difficult level. Now here we have the certified developer associate, which is easy, which like starts with the easy and which is very easy to crack. It's good for the people who want to be a developer. Then we have a solution architect associate. Again, this is for those kind of people who want to go with the architect line on the architect track. And different again exams which have different hierarchy level based on the difficulty level. Now, so most of the exams, they have this, the pattern of the exam is almost same, and you get basically, that is basically is a 3 hours of an exam where you have around, where you have different multiple choice questions. So the multiple choice questions would be of 2 types. One would be of where you have 3 choices among which you have to choose one. And if you have more than 3, then it would be like either 4 or 5 choices among which you have to choose 2. The passing criteria for exam is 720 marks. So it's basically your score ranges from 1 to 1000, and you have to score a minimum of 720 to be certified, to get a certified solution architect associate certificate. Now, all the questions in exams are scenario based only. So you will get a particular scenario, and based on those scenarios, you have to choose a particular answer, whichever suits the best for that particular scenario. And good thing that here there is no negative marking, so you can always like put a trial and error mechanism. So now there are different tracks, but the best track and the best way to go ahead with AWS would be the solution architect, as it takes you to the as it gives you the lot of knowledge and lot of experience, and it basically you deep dive into the different concepts and technology and the services, and which helps you to grow your career ahead. So if I talk about the exam coverage, so basically if you go ahead with the AWS solution architect certification exam here, so here you can see that they have given you the overview and the details. But if you see one thing here, that a lot of people these days get confused that when they come over to that download the exam guide, that what is this SSAC 01 and SSAC 02. basically what is the difference among these two. So when I talk about these two, so SSA C01 is going to expire by this July. It was going to expire in March itself. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic issue, they have extended this for July, and after that we have only SSA C02. So there is no much difference, just a exam pattern has been changed a little bit, and not basically a pattern, just these percentage of the domains has been changed. So here we talk about firstly about the design resilient architecture, which covers the most part of the exam, that is around 30%, where you talk about the different storage mechanism, that how you can set up the different storage and those kind of other storage related services. Then we talk about the decoupling mechanism. Like decoupling is nothing like you break the monolithic applications into a different small applications. So you talk about decoupling mechanisms. You talk about a multi-tier architecture, how you can set up a multi-tier architecture, how you can set up high availability and make sure that the fault tolerance and these things are enabled. So under this, we have a lot of different topics and a lot of different services associated with that, which you deep dive, and then you get the knowledge of the architecture of the AWS console or AWS cloud. Then we talk about high performing architecture, which covers again the second largest part of the exam, which is nothing but it is a high performing architecture. So what it do is that under this, you have to make sure that your storage, your database, your networking solution, all this should be like the performance of all this should be high, and like you should not face any performance lags or all those issues. So you have to make your architecture in such a way that your performance and these things are always up to the mark. Now also they're like your resources and what services you are using, that should be scalable and elastic. So elastic, it's like nothing elasticity you might heard a lot of time in AWS whenever you learn about that. So elastic is nothing, it's basically like a rubber band. Like if you expand it, it grows. If you leave it, it shrinks. So that is the best part of AWS, where the services which are offered by AWS, most of the services, they have the high elastic kind of a feature. Means as and when if your need or if your requirement increases, it automatically expands the infrastructure, the memory, and the CPU and the other things for whatever you needed. And once your requirement is again, if your requirement comes down, it again shrinks back. So that it's the reason again, one is that you save your cost also, as well as you don't have to worry each time that okay, if my load goes high, or if a lot of load comes on my server or a lot of load comes on my application, whether it will be able to bear that load or not, because AWS takes care of that thing, and that's the reason it has elasticity feature. Then again, you have to talk about the security of the applications and the security of the access. So data security is very, very important. And so you have to make sure that all your data and whatever the services and the network connectivity which you are doing, all those things should be secure, and a proper firewall and other things are set up. Then the last is the 18%, which is basically that you have to make sure about the pricing model and the cost models. So there is AWS has its own pricing model. So you must adhere to that AWS pricing model, and based on that, you should create an architecture in such a way that whatever the budget or whatever the allocated amount is there for your by your organization for the cloud services or those things. So it should adhere to all those standards. So this is the overall exam domains, but where in that we have a different subdomains which basically talks about lots and lot of other topics. So this is just a high level overview which basically tells you that okay, how you can how your exam pattern is divided, and under which how many how much services, and what are the kind of what are the strategies which you should follow, and while creating the architecture or while setting up your cloud environment. Let's talk about benefits of certification. I've heard these days a lot of people, they say that certification is not really worth or it's not really required, and like no one asks for certification. But I think that that it's not done that way, because if I talk about certification, there are certain certification which really plays a vital role in our career. When I talk about my professional career, so I know that how my AWS certification has changed my life and has changed my path. Because the first of all, it gives you so much of knowledge that you once you practice, once you do the certification, or once you prepare for the certification, you acquire a lot of knowledge by learning to different resources, by learning to different materials and other things. Apart from that, that certification is something which act as a proof of knowledge for you. As in, if you have done math like intermediate, or if you have done your 10th class or your other degree certificates, as they play a role to act as a proof of your knowledge or as a proof of your degree. Similarly, this also plays a proof of your knowledge to make sure that, so that your company should able to understand that, okay, whatever, whoever they are hiring, he is a AWS certified person, so he knows all the terms and terminologies of AWS. I don't need to train him, as well as he can easily cope up and work with my team because he knows the standards and the policies and the procedures of AWS. Of course, we have lots and lots of opportunities. You could go to Google, and if you just do cloud openings, basically AWS clouds opening, you will see multiple openings across the world, and you, like always, you can go ahead with those openings with these certifications. Once you get a job change, or once you get a new job, definitely your pocket will be filled with money, and you will have a hike, or you will have a pay increase and confidence at the end. Once you have achieved all these components and all these things, all these factors, that is the knowledge. Once you have a proof of knowledge, you have a lot of opportunities also. You know that people are there to pay you for your knowledge and these things. Definitely you will be confident enough to go ahead in the market, and you will do great with your interview or with your career ahead. So this was a small, like a little overview about the path, that how you can basically go ahead with the different kind of a certification, how you can go to the different tracks, why solution architect is important, why how it can make your career like more bright, and how it can take you to the different level in not only in the career, but as well as in terms of a knowledge also. It will give you a lot of knowledge and lot of other kind of information which would be very much beneficial. As well as, it's not only that you will not only learn about AWS, but you learn about a lot of other things, that you will get to know about servers, you will get to know experience about the scripting languages, you will get to know about databases, how network works, how the virtual networks work, what are the subnets, what are the IP address, what is the, and machine learning, IoT. So whatever services you are using, so it's not that you are only learning about that particular service, but in fact you are learning about that technology itself while learning those services. So that's the reason AWS again plays very important role, that it not just restricts you for the learning within or within it or related to it, but it basically gives you the overall understanding of the different component or the services. So let's talk a little bit about us. So we are BeingDatum. We are basically the online community, online learning community, and like we are into the different areas like data science, like big data, cloud, DevOps, and we have different industry professionals and SMEs associated with it, who basically like have a good experience and who have a good exposure to the in the IT, as well as to a different client, and they have worked with the multiple clients across the world, and they have also traveled to multiple places, and they, so with their experience and these things, they not only guide you basically with the learning path of AWS or with the data science or with the DevOps, but they also help you to make sure, they also help you to make sure that, yeah, you should follow the proper IT standards, whatever the how the project runs in IT. So basically they adhere you to that particular organization structure or to that particular team structure with the way that currently the teams are working. Apart from this, we also provide one-to-one mentorship programs, so which is like basically the kind of, you can say, the career counseling or the career guide or mentoring, if you need, for which you can like contact us, and you can like email us, and you can anytime, or you can reach out to us to help on, like if you need any career guidance, or if you are facing any issues to decide what career path you should choose, or you want to change your career or other details. As well as we have a lot of free text as well as free video based resources available over our website as a blog and these things. And also we welcome anyone from the globe to come and write the blogs for us and whatever, and also which basically like will increase your knowledge as well as understanding about the different components, as well as you will get to know how to write the blogs and other learning materials. So this is our team. So basically we have our co-founders Saurabh Agrawal and Satyajit. And Saurabh Agrawal, he works for Cloudera and he is cloud solution architect. And Satyajit is based out from Hong Kong. He works as a senior data scientist. They both have an abundant experience and learning and knowledge, and their motto is same, to spread the same across the different people and to make everyone like good with their career. Then we have in our team, like this is myself. I already told you guys about myself. Then we have Dr. Jyoti Tanvi. She is a statistics professor. Then we have Karthik, who is a data engineer again, and like Karthik. Then so every one of in our team, like basically these are our team, which is comprised of the different technologies, different expertise. If we talk about the data science, data engineering, the statistics, the cloud engineering, and the DevOps and other things. So they have a different experience, they have a different knowledge, and based on that, they share the learning to you all. Now, probably you would think that why we should choose BeingDatum. So as I told that we have a one-to-one career counseling sessions, we have one-to-one mentoring sessions. Apart from that, we help you to start your career from a beginner level to the expert level. And like it's like our courses are designed in such a way where you basically talk about where you start learning from a beginner, from a foundation level. You start learning from a very basic level, and slowly you move to the intermediate and then to the advanced level. So in a single curriculum, you get all the flavors in on one road only. Then also we help you to prepare for your interviews, to guide you. So we conduct mock interviews, we conduct one-on-one interviews, as well as we conduct some kind of a different group discussions and these things, which basically help you to share your knowledge as well. And with the help of interview, basically you can able to assess yourself that where are you at a particular level, and accordingly we guide you that how you can grow yourself. Apart from that, we have a different projects with the deployments, and that how you can basically deploy, because in the cloud lot of other things are there which basically helps you for the cloud and those things. Then so this is about our program highlights, both of which I have talked about. Now if I talk about a specific to a cloud engineering course, that is a path to AWS solution architect associate course. So here we talk about that we have a different career options. Like you can go ahead with this course as a to choose your career as a cloud engineer, cloud architect, cloud administrator, cloud sysops, and the other. You can also like work along with the different other technologies and the cloud knowledge. Having a cloud knowledge together, you can work on those things. So our total session duration is about 50 to 60 hours. It's all the online based tutorial only. Then it basically like takes about 10 weeks of a session, where we also, like if I talk about specific to AWS solution architect, so we provide you more than 500 questions for the practice, which are based out from a different domains and those things, which help you to practice each and every time whenever it is required. Apart from that, there are more than 20 plus hands-on lab exercises which guide you to know that what it about, which guide you how you can basically achieve cloud and how you can work on that. So let's talk about the course curriculum, and if you can go to our website and in BeingDatum.com, and here you can see our course curriculum basically. So we talk about cloud computing and AWS, that what is cloud computing, what is AWS. If you are not from a background from a Unix or Linux, we help you to guide, like have a session with you, and we help you to make sure that you know what is Unix, Linux. You should understand that commands and those things. Then we talk about the IAM service, which is one of the important service in cloud, which basically allows you to provide user access roles, the authentication mechanism, and these things. Then you have the EC2 instance, which I told you that it is for the infrastructure as a service it acts as. Then we talk about auto scaling, load balancing, EBS storage, S3 cloud service, how you can work with AWS CLI, what is the policy simulator, what is the SDK, how you can manage the securities, and the cloud front and the cloud trail and all, which are basically to capture the logs and the event. Then you talk about database, how you can create the virtual private cloud, how you can monitor the services, backup, and lot of other things. So this is again like the overview, which basically tells you that, okay, what it is. But among, if you deep dive into this, there are a lot of things which you have to learn, and with help of which you will get more understanding and more knowledge about us. So I'll open the session now for the for all of you to have a question, to put your questions in the chat window. So with, if I say about the different career options for Sachin, so we have like not only with the cloud architect and all, but you can also go with the DevOps. With the DevOps is a very important, like very good career right now. And with that also a cloud knowledge is must, because most of the things are hosted in cloud. Then if I talk about data science or a big data engineering, as we have abundant of data in big data, and when we use or when you work with the big data technologies, as well as there are a lot of analytics and things which are being used when you talk about data science. So again, all those things are being utilized. For all those things you use cloud environment, mostly like companies are using AWS environment. So that is one of the reason that you should have AWS knowledge, because if you are not directly just moving into the specified cloud, but with whatever technology you are working, or with other technologies, which if you combine cloud, it like makes your career, it basically adds a different advantage to you. So salary range is minimum. So if I talk about a fresher level and these things, so minimum it starts from the like I guess like the normal companies it start about the 8 LPA, and again the salary and for the experienced professional and all those people. So it depends on the different levels and the things on which you are going ahead. Now, okay, so as you are a fresher and you have a Python and Django, so definitely with the Python and Django, you can get to know a lot of things with the cloud. So because cloud requires a lot of cloud requires scripting and the other experience as well. There are a lot of web application which you basically build using the Django, which you build using the tkinter and other things also. Okay, so based on that you can go so when you have the advantage of when you already have the advantage of a development, that is a Python and Django combination along with AWS, we can help you to understand that how the applications are deployed, how we can deploy and like your web applications. If you have a scripting or the automation things in Python, so that also how can it be deployed as well as hosted. Apart from that, there are other various services of Python which is utilized in AWS. So all those things will basically enhance your learning. Talking about AWS developer, yes, we cover AWS developer as your career option also. We can talk about that as well. Like if you want more details, you can like ping me. I will in the group separately. I will tell you about that. How much cost is ours? So this costs around $150. So as of now, it costs $150 to you for the certification, for the solution architect certification. So cloud sysops is nothing. Cloud sysops is basically when you act as a system administrator or a system operation engineer, where you work for a level 2 or a level 3 on a cloud, where you have to take care of creating the organization, take care of creating the user access roles, as well as you have to take care of like provisioning the services and provisioning the infrastructure, sorry, and maintaining your services and all those things. So that is also a very good career, because I think like I think that as a system administrator or as a system operation guy, you have a very good learning with all those things, and like you basically get to know a lot more than a developer or someone. The reason, because you basically go and deep dive into each and every service. You know what are the options which you get when you configure those things. Okay, what kind of a service is being invoked from a backend, or what kind of a commands has to be run on the other things. Okay, so that Karthik has already answered that this will be instructor led. It is a live session only. So like right now we are interacting the similar way we will be interacting, and all it the forum will be open for you anytime to answer your queries in between the sessions. And yes, so you, for all those things you will get these things. So for solution developer and solution architect, the difference is that when you talk about a solution developer, you basically work on the services, or you work on the development of the services or the enhancement. Means using the services of the cloud, you try to make the API calls and use those functions to make other calls and automate the environment or automate the infrastructures and a lot of other things. Like let's say if you are building a web application, so for a web application you are using a multi-tier application. Now you have a different web server, you have a different application server and other database server. You have to host all those things on the cloud. So you have to write the development and those things. And the comes of architect, where you focus more on the designing and the architecture part and all those things. So those all details will be so when apart from that, you also work and you talk about different like not only the designing and the performance and the cost, but you also talk about the guidance that you basically mentor other people as well. The course cost, so this course cost you for 7,500. And yeah, so this batch is this batch will start from uh, next weekend itself, that is 25th. So we offer the trainings only on weekend, that is Saturday and Sunday. The class timings are mostly in the afternoon, that is in the from 2 o'clock to 4:30. So based on so timings would be mostly from 2 to 4 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So the persons, so Sachin, I think I can answer all your queries together. We can have a separate call. You are the only one here. So let's give other people also to answer to have their questions. However, let me answer your queries. So as I said that we have a web application, and so now that web application can be on anything. You can build your web application using Python. You can build your web application using Angular. You can parse the REST, call your REST API and parse the JSON and other things, and go ahead and do with that. Okay, so guys, Karthik, you want to uh, convey something to the audience here? I have unmute you, Karthik, now.
Hello everyone. So Sachin conducted a very nice session. Thank you for that, Sachin. And if you see, AWS is being used very widely in most of the companies. If you see, I'm working in IBM, but most of the cloud architecture which they are planning to build upon, that is, they are going to go for hybrid solution. So they try to build the architecture used by AWS just to compete with them. So when we see a competitor like AWS, so many companies are trying to work upon that and try to match the level in that manner. So if you have a certification like AWS Cloud Architect, definitely it's a very good for a fresher as well as experience to directly switch into a job or get into a job. So myself, I am a data engineer, but still I am aiming for AWS Solution Architect in near future, just because cloud plus a developer role will definitely get you a proper role and job in getting into any market or industries. So Sachin will add on to it and he'll help you with the course, whatever we have. And Sachin, can you just ping your number in the chat so that if anyone is interested, they can ping you separately?
Sure, I'll do that, as well as whoever is in the group, they can go ahead and uh, that. Sachin, you can call me as and when you need it. I'll answer all your queries. And guys, already the link has been shared here as well as in this. So whoever is interested, please enroll for the course and let us know. to, and if you have any queries, then we can go ahead and we can basically deep dive into the AWS and we can learn together about AWS concepts. Okay, so anyone else has any query, anything which anyone wants to put up here? You can put it in the chat. I will answer it. So you can go ahead and you can like follow our page, like on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We are on the everywhere, as well as we have our channel name as BeingDatum on YouTube as well. There we have the different videos and the materials which you can on time go through. You can contact us to our email ID at contact@beingdatum.com, or you can call to any of these two numbers, or you can reach out to us via our website beingdatum.com, which is basically, this is our website beingdatum.com, and you can like anytime go here and you can look over our courses, whatever the courses we offer, whatever the other kind of blogs we have, our experts, any of the new upcoming events you will get to know from here, and you can directly go and like and follow our page from here itself. So yeah, so guys, I think if there are no further questions and no other things, so we are good to wind up the session. So thanks again everyone for joining this, and like do let us know if you have any query, and you can always ping to the WhatsApp group you are added, and then we can anytime go ahead and we'll answer your queries as and when needed. Okay, thank you very much for joining. Thank you. Have a good night.